All right, good morning, everyone. This is our first showing of Wlbt Plus weather, as we are really going to be focusing on the fact that it's hot outside. So, meteorologist Elise Ushman's here, and I'm meteorologist Chase Franks, and we're just going to be going right into it. So, Elise, do you want to take it away?
Absolutely. So let's take a look at what we got here. Want to start you off with some currents where it's already 87 in Jackson. 10 o'clock in the morning feels like 101 degrees. So that's why we have heat advisories in effect for today. These feels like numbers have been going up rather quickly. Today we were into the 90s already at 7 and I think 7 or 8.
7 to 8 we were at.
And yeah, now already feeling like the triple digits. So
that's just so nice. It's going to feel even worse throughout the rest of the day too. Yeah. So we're going to be seeing our peak feel at temperatures anywhere from 100 to 110 in some places. So you already have those heat advisories in effect across much of central Mississippi, and even for the counties that aren't even included in that heat advisory, it doesn't just stop at the county line.
Right.
It continues regardless of where you are. And if you notice all the way into the day tomorrow, by 4 a.m., we're still into the low 80s. So if you're walking out the door early on your Tuesday morning, it's still going to feel nasty, just like it hit me like a truck this morning. I was used to the really nice and cool weather that we've been having with the rain.
Yeah, so the rain was helping.
I'm not used to this really nasty weather out there.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to get used to it, I guess, because this is technically the dog days of summer.
I think that's a good accurate.
That is what they call the dog days of summer. It goes from the end of July to sometime in August. I'll have to look at that and bring it back to you, but I know we're in it. And of course, you can see that here too. So our feels like numbers not just going to stay in the triple digits, they're actually going to continue to increase as we get into the rest of this work week. Wednesday through Friday especially, we're looking at the potential for some excessive heat warnings in central Mississippi. So that is something we've missed out on for the most part so far this summer. We've had actually a relatively cool summer compared to what we saw last year through this time period. We've gotten of course much more rain than we saw last year, so that has certainly helped. But now we're going to start to really feel the heat and the mugginess going forward, even going forward to the next 10 to 14 days.
That doesn't look fun at all. You can see just by that darker orange for us here in the Jackson area, and regardless of where you are in the lower 48, you can't escape the heat. I'm sure your vacation plans, wherever you might be trying to escape the heat too, you're just going to run into even warmer temperatures, regardless of where you are. So it's not just us that is going to be feeling hot; it's everyone. So it's time to just buckle into the dog days of summer. I kind of forgot I was living in Mississippi for a little bit there. So
last week,
last week was definitely so nice.
And we've missed out too on a lot of triple digit days. If you're traveling west, Chase was just talking about vacations. If you're traveling west for your vacation, you're going to wind up in some triple digits for sure. They've got plenty of those to go around. So the heat bubble is building, and it's not just for us.
You take away with this one.
All right. So yeah, our heat bubble looks something like this. We talked about feels like numbers in the triple digits. So 105 to 110 today and tomorrow, likely reaching 110 to 115 for a few places by Wednesday afternoon. But our actual air temperatures aren't going to make the triple digits in most places. We'll just be into the mid 90s. I say just, but we'll be into the mid and upper 90s across central Mississippi, just a little bit above average actually, which is around 93 degrees for this time of year. Now, at the end of our forecast into the end of the weekend and early next week, our temperatures, this looks so dramatic on this graph. It's just a few degree change, but that would potentially coincide with some rain making its way back into the picture for us. But
it doesn't look like it's going to be in time to help.
Right. It's not going to be in time to help anything, and it's not going to really be widespread enough to let everybody feel that relief. Plus, our muggy meter is not changing. In fact, it's increasing through like the middle of the week.
Very typical summer-like pattern that we're moving into, where you have those random chances just to see a stray shower or two, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. That's going to be possible more towards the end of the week, but for now, we're just going to have to deal with some very muggy and steamy conditions. And sadly, the relief doesn't look like it's going to be coming back in until maybe Monday with some rainfall, and it's not looking widespread rainfall. So we are just going to be seeing, again, just very warm and muggy conditions.
Yeah, warm and muggy. So I think the next half of our forecast here goes into some talk about hurricane season and about where we're at as far as we're at in the hurricane season, talks about what's going on out there. So we've got some people talking about temperatures here. Miss Thomas, I don't know where you guys are watching from. So let us know where you're watching from. Of course, you're going to feel the heat.
Yeah, no
regardless.
matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are in central Mississippi, or even if you're not in central Mississippi and you're watching from somewhere else in the United States. It's hot pretty much regardless of where you are. So that's kind of unfortunate. We're moving out of that little summer low that we had, but now it's just coming at us in full force. Sadly.
Yeah, the summer low was nice. It was a nice change. We got Betty's watching from Crystal Springs. Hello to you down there. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be doing this every day, so this is new. Chase mentioned at the beginning, if you weren't here at the beginning, this is our first day doing WLBT First Alert Weather Plus, or WLBT Plus First Alert Weather.
We'll work on the name.
Something like that. So we'll be here every morning at 10 with you guys, and Dave and Peyton will join you at 2:30 in the afternoons so that you can get a little bit of a closer view of the forecast.
Someone was saying that it wasn't that bad whenever they were running at 6:30 in Ridgeland. I walked outside at roughly 3:30, and it hit me like a truck. And it was just, I felt the humidity just come into my body, and I just wasn't expecting it. I was so used to the nice, cool mornings that we had, low humidity throughout much of the day, and that rain really keeping us nice and mild. So kudos to you getting out there early, but walking out there was not fun for me this morning.
Yeah, I think it just depends on your tolerance. They were saying they went out for a run, so definitely kudos to you for getting out and running. I do agree with that. That is going to be the best time to do it, though, as early as possible, or maybe really late into the evening is when you're going to get the chance to feel a little bit of relief, but not much. Speaking of relief, so we talk about heat advisories, excessive heat warnings, and we always tell you that with prolonged exposure, that can lead to heat-related illnesses. And what we mean by that is heat exhaustion and heat stroke. So these are a few of the signs that you can see. There are some differences between them. Heat exhaustion would likely come before heat stroke, but we want you to be aware of these signs. So feeling faint, having a horrible headache from being out in the heat, sweating excessively, nausea goes along with both of these. And I guess the pulse would be the tell here. So a rapid weak pulse, rapid versus a rapid strong pulse. But this is just something to keep in mind if you're with people and you have to work outdoors. We know that in Mississippi, we have plenty of people that have to work outdoors. So we got landscaping crews that are getting back to work this week after a week off last week. Maybe you had a little bit of a break there. Roofers, same story for you. Construction workers. Just note these signs and try to keep in your mind that you need to take those extra breaks. And here's what you can do if you feel that you or someone around you is experiencing one of those things. So that falls in line with our summer heat checklist.
Yeah, you got to make sure you are drinking plenty of water, especially just like you went out and had a nice run at 6:30. It doesn't matter if you're running at 6:30 or if you're running into the afternoon, evening. Now, granted, the peak heating hours are from 11 a.m. to about 5 p.m. in the day. So if you are working outside, especially in that time frame, you do want to be taking a little bit more extra caution than those of you that are going for runs at 6:30 in the morning. So it is very important that you drink plenty of water. You want to wear those loose and light fitting clothing. You want to take breaks inside or in any air conditioning that you can possibly find. Under any shade that also works, that has good airflow. So it's just very important that you do have multiple ways to stay updated. You want to check people and pets, especially as we're getting into a very warm week ahead of us. So a lot of us aren't really getting necessarily accustomed to what we had just this past week. So it's very, very polar opposite from what we had last week to this week. So it might come as a re-shock that we're still in summer and it's still almost August. So it is very important that you just take note of all these things and make sure you do practice heat safety, please, especially as you are working outside, doing any outdoor activities. Your kids are heading on out for any outdoor events.
Right. And you're getting your kids back to school too. So in the mornings, you want to remember this. There are so many little hacks and tips that people come up with on how to remember that your kids are in the back seat. So you can either set an alarm. We know some cars will actually alert you if there's something in the back seat. I think that's a great feature.
I think so. I
don't need that.
I don't need that right now, but I think it does still.
Yeah, so that's a great feature. But if you don't have that feature, maybe you have an older car, a little bit of an older car, and mine definitely doesn't do that. But they say, you know, put your phone back there, because we know you're not going to leave the car without your phone. Put your shoe back there, one of your shoes, if you don't need it while you're driving, you know. So that's just a reminder, because you probably won't walk into work with only one shoe on. If you do, then you're just really having a bad morning, I guess. But just a few tips there. And don't bring your pets in the car with you when it's this hot out, because they can also experience heat exhaustion and heat stroke. So it just gets way too hot in the car for all that. So we're gonna shift gears here. We're gonna take you back to the tropics, and Chase, I'll let you take over on this.
Another thing that we've been tracking now, not just the heat here at home, but a system developing into the central Atlantic. Now, this is not even an invest yet, and what an invest is pretty much just a storm development into much of the either Atlantic Basin or Pacific Basin. And that's pretty much a cluster of storms that we look at that has the possible development of becoming a hurricane or a tropical storm. And this system has a 50% chance of development over the next 5 days. So it's still very, very far away from even the Caribbean, and it's not moving very quickly. So we're expecting this more towards the end of the 5-day period. So by Wednesday into Friday, could be expecting to see the storm system develop into something. Now, where it goes after that, who knows? A lot of the models have it going up the East Coast. Some of it have it going into the Gulf. But to be honest, we're not going to sit here and tell you where exactly it's going to be heading, because right now it's still way too far out. We're just giving you your first alert that something is brewing in the Atlantic after what felt like a long period where we didn't have really anything developing into the Gulf of Mexico. So it is very important that you do have this on the back burner. I know a lot of us are just going to be focused on the heat, but the tropics are starting to wake up just a little bit. So I do think it's important that you keep a close eye on this storm.
Yeah, and of course we'll bring you the first alert on if that turns into anything. So this is just one model. We look at lots of models to make our forecasts for you, and this shows moisture levels. So you'll be able to see here where that system is expected to move by this model's view of things. And it has it staying out on the Atlantic side for the most part, kind of curves along the eastern coast of the United States there. So not by this model's view. Of course, this is well out. This goes into this coming weekend. This has it missing us. But notice, too, we still have plenty of moisture here at home, so we're still not going to get a break from that. We may get the chance to see some rain by the weekend. It may not come from this system, but this is one way that it could end up moving as we get into the next week or so. So here's what our rain chances could look like. Pretty minuscule stuff.
I was about to say little to nothing expected this week. So you can bring your rain gear with you, but to be honest, most of you that do bring it probably will not use it. There is that chance to see a stray shower. Very typical summer-like weather with us for this week. It's going to be hot and steamy, and then every once in a while you'll just get that one random pop-up thunderstorm that will just move through just half of town, and then just by the time it reaches your house, of course, it's gone. So that's to be expected for some portions of this week into the weekend. But our next best chance of rain is looking to move into the forecast well past this week into early portions of next week. So we'll keep you updated in regards to that. But for now, you don't really have to worry about the rain too much. So it's a nice little break, but hopefully it doesn't stick around for too long. We don't want to have to deal with any drought that could be moving into the picture with how warm it's getting, how hot it's going to be, and how dry it could possibly be as well. So
yeah, so that's pretty much what we've got here for our First Alert Weather Plus on our Monday. So this is the first week we're doing this. We're fine tuning it. If you tuned in today, thanks for joining us. And if maybe you want to think about some questions that you have about the forecast or about weather or something, and you can ask us tomorrow. You can come back. We'll be back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, or you can tune in at 2:30 with Dave and Peyton, and you can ask them your questions. But this is just going to give you a deeper dive into the forecast, allow us to kind of interact with you at the time that we're getting the information out.
I think it's I think it's Dave and Ashley today.
Oh, it
I
is.
believe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I believe
Ashley's going to
I
be
believe
here
it's
today.
Dave and Ashley today. I think Peyton is off this whole week, so
Okay.
we're going to give it to Ashley to take over the whole thing, and I'm sure Dave will probably join her as well. So you'll be able to get with them later on this afternoon for the most up-to-date information in regards to what we're going to be tracking this week, which is just a lot of heat. So
Yeah. So thanks for joining us.